Any content provided by our bloggers or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, municipality, individual, or anyone or anything.
He's a surgeon. He's a 100-ton boat captain. He's a lieutenant on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol in New Jersey. He's a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's Dr. Michael Kachmar. Need answers to your medical questions? We have them. Listen in to hear latest on medical topics related to all that and more.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar, and this is Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar. Sorry we haven't been around for a while. We had Thanksgiving, and we've been very busy in the OR and in the office. So today is December the 2nd, the year of our Lord, 2022. Jeremy, you want to say hello?
Hey, everybody. How you doing? I'm
Looney-
your pal Jeremy. You know that.
I like the shirt, Jeremy, Looney Tunes.
That's me.
They said that, we all watched that when we grew up, and they said that, it creates violence. And I tell you what, I'd give $1 million to go back to that stuff and to what we have now.
So would I. That's how I learned about classical music, was
Yeah.
from Looney
Yeah.
Tunes.
I learned how to shoot a shotgun from Elmer Fudd,
Did you really? So you always missed.
I always liked to like it when he shot the duck. I mean the duck and his beak went around the other way.
Duck season.
Yeah,
season,
yeah.
Duck season.
So anybody who don't know who we are this is a medical political talk show. We talk about medicine with regard to the politics of it and just general medicine in
The world
all
in
regard.
general. Yeah.
Well, in general, we're on right now. We're live on YouTube. We're on Rumble and Facebook. We also push this out in Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Actually, we're also on Twitter right now and Twitch. So come on board. Subscribe, watch us. You could always send us an email if you want to comment. And Jeremy, can you put up the email address for me real quick? So the email address, Jeremy's going to throw it up there, is drkachmar, that's drkachmar at iCloud.com. Send us a message. Maybe you come on the show.
Of course, I just want to stress for more information on the medical aspect of things about Dr. Michael Kachmar, please go to JerseyShoreFootAndLakeCenter.com.
Yes.
If you have anything wrong with your lower extremities, I mean, he's a reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon, just like the intro said.
That's right.
He's quite brilliant. I've seen this guy diagnose stuff through a blurry photograph, and he was dead on.
Right. But then again, it doesn't take much to impress you, right, Jeremy?
It doesn't really. No. Yeah, it doesn't.
All right. So let's go to our famous whiteboard. And so this is what we're going to talk about today. Listen, I want to just tell everybody right off the bat, we are, we don't talk about violence here. We're what we're trying to do is give you information. What do we call pundits? So this is our opinion. We do the best research that we can. Can we say it's 100% accurate? We try to. We go into the literature, we do research, and we have a whole crew. We have a whole group of people downstairs here. We got about 15, 20 people
15,
researching.
Yeah.
Right. And
every once in a while, you'll hear a thudding. That's me just banging downstairs to tell them to keep it down.
So anyway, so we're going to talk about, this is something that is really crazy. And I want people in state of New Jersey to understand what is going on with our children. So the theme here is that the parents, we're losing control and authority and even knowledge of what's going on with our children. And children are getting more and more abilities to make their own decisions without the parents' consent.
Yeah.
Now, you might say, oh, it's no big deal, or maybe that's liberty, or maybe that's democracy. Well, if you think about it, a lot of these children are not able or should not be able to, or what we believe is that they're not able to make decisions.
For themselves. At certain ages.
Right, certain ages. That's why we always had the children being protected. Mm-hmm. The second thing on this note is I still believe, and again, prove me wrong, but I think the parents, in most cases, have the best interest for the children, and they should be responsible and have the authority to determine what these children do. Now, I understand you can make the argument. I don't want to go down that argument where, oh, the state has more power than the kid, the parents, and that the state knows better than the parents.
No.
So
no,
well,
they don't. That's the issue.
Well, this is the issue, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's go back here, and I want to talk a couple things. So I want to just start at consent, because we use surgical consent. We all know about consent. If you're going to be operated on, I have you sign a consent. What basically consent is that you're consenting. You're saying, yes, I'll have the surgery done. You could take my nose off. I understand the ramifications, the downside, the risks.
This is a good question here. That you just brought up a good thing.
What did I bring up?
So
What was good?
on this age of consent for
Right.
operating, right?
Yes.
What's the ages we're talking about here?
Well, that's why I want to bring up. So it
Yeah.
used to be 18.
Used to be 18.
Well, listen.
Without a parent's
Consent.
consent.
Yes. Well, in New Jersey, it's not that clear cut now. So I'll give you some instances, and you make a good point. So
Okay.
the age of consent for sex. So now let's start with that. The age of consent right now in New Jersey, and it has nothing to do with the individual who the 16-year-old is having sex with could be any age, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, it doesn't matter. If you're 16 years old in the state of New Jersey, 16, 17, 18, you can consent to sex with anybody. As there's some there's caveats. It can't be a family member. It can't be coerced. You can't be like.
What you're saying is they thought about this a little bit.
Right.
Yeah,
It can't
okay.
be like somebody who's a supervisor or a teacher. Like if you're in Wawa, you can't say to the 16-year-old boy or girl, "Hey, I'll give you a couple extra, hamburgers." So it can't be, and there can't be any alcohol involved. But basically, barring that, and you could read the statute. We have it here. Barring that, the age is 16. And here's the thing, Jeremy. There's legislation right now talking about lowering that age of 16 for other things, to 13. Now we're going to go, and that's with regard to transgender treatment. Let's keep going. So that's number one. So if you want to have sex in New Jersey, and you're 16, 17, you do not need consent. You don't need your parents. Parents don't have to be told, don't have to know about it. And so if you're online with some fucking predator, I mean, and they can't even get locked up.
Let me.
You understand what I'm saying? They can't even get.
You brought that up.
They can be like a 50-year-old, weirdo.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
my son and his best friend, one of his best friends. Well, this girl, we knew her when she was a baby.
Right.
She lives in my
Right.
house practically.
Right.
And she had a whole conversation with Justin Bieber online.
Oh,
And,
really?
Yeah, Justin Bieber was
and she believed it. How
and it
old
was
is
like
she?
they
How
were
old is she?
Well, this was 5 or 6 years ago. She's 16 now.
Yeah.
So
So she was
But-
very young,
yeah.
right?
So she was saying, oh yeah, and we want to meet up and be
Yeah.
together. He's asking where I live and all of that, and I had to sit down with both her and my son with their mother present. Right.
Yeah.
And I had to talk with them about the internet
Yeah.
and what bad people will do.
Right.
Because, see, that's the thing. When we talk about all these young ages,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
you really have to wrap your brain around how little they know.
How naive they
about
are, too.
How naive
Right,
they
right.
are about the real
right,
world
right,
and
right.
the ugliness and the monsters
right,
in the
right,
real
right.
world.
Well, you talk to an 8-year-old and they believe in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, which is great. But, I remember a case while you bring it up where one of my friends, he's an architect, and his son, this is when the internet just started coming out and all this crazy stuff was going on. People like, oh, anyway, he was on the internet and befriended somebody in, I don't know if it was Chile, Brazil, somewhere in South America. And he thought it was a girl. And he was like, I don't know, 17 years old, 18. I don't know how old he was, but he was old enough to buy an airline ticket without his parents knowing. And he was going to fly down there, right? And what happened was somebody alerted him, the father, to this thing, and he put a kibosh on it. What it really was is they found out it's a ring. It's a kidnapping ring. So you go down there. They get you at the airport. They cut your ear off. They send it to your parents and say, listen, I want $100,000. Don't call the cops. You never see your son again.
And you're probably not going to see him anyway.
Well, I think this stopped it. But my point is that it's a very dangerous place. And the state of New Jersey right now is kind of saying, listen, if they're 16 years old, we're not going to get involved. They want to have sex. They want to talk to somebody. I don't know if it's.
That's it. Dodging responsibility.
Okay,
If
well,
you're
let's
if you're going to give these kids more responsibilities in life, then you've got to be responsible for what you're giving them.
Well, they're too young. Now let's go to the next thing. It gets
No,
worse.
I mean the people that are making the laws.
Yeah, well,
they have to be responsible for the consequences.
So let's go here. We got some light there. I don't know what's on that light.
It's this thing here.
Yeah. Can you want to just move that camera a little bit for me, Jeremy, please? Appreciate it. So the next thing we're going to talk about here is number 2. For people who are on Spotify who can't see this, you got to go onto our thing. Just see if you can move it a little bit. Now, Jeremy, just turn that a little bit then. I'm sorry about this, people. So we're just going to have to deal with it. So the next thing is, thanks, that's good. The next thing is abortion. So here's the deal with it. That's good, Jeremy, you don't have to go that far. That's good enough. So abortion, here's the deal with abortion. So people don't realize this and understand this. In New Jersey, now this is New Jersey now. So, okay, age of consent for sex is 16 years old and above. And there's talk about moving the consent to even younger. There goes pedophiles. I mean, there's not going to be a pedophile anymore. Abortion in the state of New Jersey, and you guys could look this up. I looked up the statutes, and I'm going to show you some of it. If you're under 18, okay, you do not need parental consent. You can consent to it yourself. So, I mean, if you're 18 and above, you can consent. That's in New Jersey. 18 years old is a consent for surgery. If you want to have an abortion, you're 12 years old. Listen to me now. No parent consent. Now, it's not even 16. So some places, some things in New Jersey, if you're under 16, you need consent. But for abortion, no consent. No, the parents don't have to be known. You could do it yourself, and the state of New Jersey will pay for it. Now, I mean, I looked at this, and I thought it was anybody under 16 needed consent. But according to what I'm looking at and the state statute, there's abortion in New Jersey is on demand. Listen to me. On demand. No time frame with regard to the pregnancy. You could be 9 months pregnant. No waiting period and no parental consent. And the parents don't even have to be told. So the way I'm reading it, and I could, again, looks to me that you could be 12 years old, 13 years old, pregnant, and you could get an abortion if you want, and the state will deal with it. Okay? Next, number 2. Okay, so do you understand that? Okay, so now you got 16-year-olds could have sex, and maybe even younger, and you could have an abortion.
See,
that's.
I understand.
Yeah, now,
but like when I was in my lifetime, I discovered at one point somebody had told me a friend of a friend, and a 13-year-old had gotten pregnant. Mm-hmm. My jaw dropped in absolute disgust. My thoughts on that have not changed since. So I struggle to understand how the rest of my country and the people in it and the governing body decide that these things are okay. And they take away your responsibility of them, like the parents' responsibility. They eliminate that. So you don't even have a say in what's going on at all.
No.
I mean, this is really sick. This seems to me like something that needed to be voted on or something like that.
Well, let's go. This is well, I didn't even finish yet.
Okay.
Number 3. Number 3.
Sure.
Okay. In New Jersey, they passed a recreational marijuana. You could smoke it if you're 21 or and above, at home, nowhere out, not outside. You can only have a small amount on your person, right? And but there's a but to the law.
Right.
If you're under 21, but above 16, so 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, you could smoke it. It's not criminal. It says it right in the statute. Not criminal, not delinquent. And moreover, that means that's alcohol, marijuana, hashish. And so if you get caught and you're in the park somewhere and you're 16 years old, 16, 17 years old,
Okay.
and you got pot, the cops cannot tell your parents.
Right.
I don't even know if they could take it away from you. Now, they want to push that down to 13, but right now, so I think under 16, they may not even talk to your parents at that point, but force you or submit your name to some kind of drug treatment program. And again, I believe you're shielded from your parents. So let's look at this. What we're saying: age of consent for sex in New Jersey, 16. Then that's anybody. You could be 50-year-old guy or girl, whatever. And as long as if it's a teacher or something in a supervisory situation, so that's number one. Number two is abortion on demand, any age, no consent. No parents have to know about it. The sex, no parents have to know about it. 3, smoking marijuana, under 21, above 16. The cops cannot arrest you. They can give you a warning. They cannot tell your parents. If the cops tell your parents, they are subject to criminal prosecution.
Okay, so here's a big question.
Okay, and we got one more. We got to still go, but go ahead.
Here's a big question. Why do they feel the need to do this?
There's a million. Well, I can tell you. I'll give you.
What are they getting out of it?
All right.
What's the purpose? What was the flaw that they felt like they needed to fix to begin with?
All right. Well,
like, why are they doing the things that they're putting into place?
Let me finish up why, and then I'll give you the why. Okay.
Oh, you got a why. Good.
So yeah. So now I will give you another one I put down here. Now with that smoking everything, just so you understand. Well, then the next thing is the HIPAA laws. Now HIPAA has been around for a long time, and HIPAA laws are where if you are in a hospital, Jeremy, you're in a car accident, and you don't consent to your parents or your wife to be told what's wrong with you, the doctors and the staff in the hospital they cannot tell your family what's wrong with you. You understand? Now, and so if you're 16, right, and above, you don't need. You could be in the hospital, whatever, and tell your parents, tell the doctors, I don't want them to know. Now, what's on the state statute right now, they want to raise that, they want to lower it down to 13 for if you're in school and you need transgender sex, you want to have counseling for hormone blockers. Whether or not they could give it, I don't know. But I can tell you right now, they want it. There's legislation right now. They want to have you at 13 and above, no parental consent. If there's a doctor who thinks you are needed it. So this is the state. So the state's going to have a doctor, the counselor at school, and they're going to take over the care, and no parents are involved. No parent consent.
So that's the answer to the question I asked.
Well, let me tell you what the
why and wherefore. That's because they have an agenda with this with the transgender thing and the puberty blockers and changing and sexualizing children, and my new word of disgust is normalizing things.
Well, let me
to normalize everything. You would have to make all of that right. You would then have to change the laws for everything else, like the smoking, the drinking, and all of that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
All right, let me just back up a minute here because you're asking me the why. So just here's the thing, there's a lot of people I talk to who are very well-meaning. They're going, listen, Dr. Kachmar, these kids, their uncle gets them pregnant, or their family's a train wreck, and their family's not there. There's one parent family. It goes on and on. Why they feel? Wait, let me just finish. Why they feel the state has to come in. Now, let me make a point with the marijuana. Why you say why under 21 that you could smoke it out in public if you're under 21 but above 16. You know why? You know what it says in the statute? What the governor of the state said? Basically, because the cops were pulling over disproportionately black people who were smoking and drinking and not white. So they, all across the board, shot it down. So now you have the Wild Wild West. Well, is that true or not? I don't know. But let me. So I just talked about 4 things. Definitely the age of consent is 16. Now, it's going, and they want to bring it down to 13. Now, there's exceptions to these rules. There's criteria. I don't know if anybody in the state of New Jersey could get a transgender sex change under 18 without parental consent. I don't know. They might. I could tell you right now, they could definitely get counseling. And the way there is statute to say you could get alcohol treatment, you could get sex, you could get abortion. That's a procedure. Now, abortion is not the same as having your breast removed or your penis removed. I understand that, and so I don't know, but I'm telling parents out there, you better watch out because
it's still gaining control over one particular thing of somebody else, their bodies. And you gave me the fifth thing that should be up on that list. And I know we don't. I ran out of.
Yeah,
I know we don't want to dive too deeply into it, but unfortunately, I feel like this is the cause for everything above. Why all of above was put into place is so they can get these transgender laws put into place. That's their real agenda, and they can't do it with all of this other stuff. All of that other stuff is smokescreen. So you get attention on this, and they pull away attention from the rest. They are doing this for a reason, and that's it. They have agendas that they want to push through, and it's all about sexualizing kids and making sure all this new normalization goes through in the Biden whatever.
Well, here's the thing, Jeremy. I don't know what's in people's hearts. So you could say that they have an agenda. They're ominous. There's other people.
I know.
Some of them are good.
Mike, I know what's in. I know what's in people's hearts. I know what's in mine. I know what's in yours.
Yeah, but you don't know what's in everybody's.
No.
You'll never know.
Eventually, I think you rise up. When you're a politician, I think you forget to be a person, and you forget what that means. And certainly, if you're pushing this stuff, and you lost the sense of what's right and what's wrong within my lifetime, within yours, we knew these things to be unjust and obviously wrong. Parental slips, you had to get a parental slip for anything.
Right.
Anything and everything. Right. So why all of this all of a sudden? It coincides with all this transgender shit that they're pushing.
Well, I don't listen here. I'm going to tell you this. I could tell you if I could bring in people here today who will discuss all of this and give you really plausible examples of where these things help. Okay, just let me just
I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's them wanting their cake and eat it too.
Well,
that's
again,
what it is.
I understand that, but
and the devil and the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Let me tell you where I at least could tell you where I see the facts are, and without trying to interpret what's in somebody's mind, what their motives. Here's what I see: is that all of this I'm talking about, all of this on the whiteboard here. What the what's the word we use? The string that goes through all of this, the common denominator, okay, of all of this is no parental consent. You understand? And this is something I want to bring up to the public, our listeners. You could make the argument why they're doing this. You can make the argument on each specific one, but here's the deal. Number one, and most importantly, the parents are out of the picture, which is so if you want to talk about alternative motives, what the communists did, what they did is you destroy the family unit. You destroy the family unit, and then you have people wandering around, and what they look for is the state. You get rid of religion, you get rid of family. So this, whether or not it's intentional or not, this is destroying the family unit, because
that's the perfect point. That's the perfect point.
So I agree with you there, and you can infer
the fact that they're destroying it for one specific agenda.
No, I think it's the whole agenda.
The whole agenda is what makes the one thing they're going for actually get them to get there. But otherwise, all this other stuff is stuff they had to do to get that one thing they were going after.
Let me tell you something, Jeremy. Just like Nazi Germany, just like Lenin. Lenin, you know what Lenin said one time? He goes, I want the poor peasants to fight against the rich peasants. Yeah. You know what? All of this stuff sounds wonderful, but you push this agenda and you break everything down. Once they get control, once you have a country, a government that has, you don't have liberty. Talk about democracy. Everybody talks about democracy. Really, what you want to have is liberty. You're taking away parents' rights, and you're taking away family rights. And I understand where you come from, the agendas, and that's fine. But
they had to do that. They have to do that.
Right.
No.
I think that
because if they don't get rid of all of this, okay, then the agenda that they're actually really trying to put into play becomes a misnomer. Obviously,
but
you
Jeremy,
couldn't get what you want because you have to do all of this.
Jeremy, I don't think that there's just one that their main is to have everybody transgender
How do you know?
sex. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Well,
It
you know
doesn't.
what?
It doesn't
Hang
make.
on, hang
no.
on a second. You don't want to.
no.
You don't want to
No.
postulate what their
No,
thoughts are and
but
everything.
because
But that one you're
no,
sure of?
No. But here's the thing, Jeremy.
I don't know, man.
If that, I think what it is that if you look at the government with medicine, they broke the doctor-patient relationship. Everything's going corporate. I'm telling you, it's going towards a social. Just like with Hitler, just like with Mao Zedong, just like with Russia. I mean, just like with
Take transgender off the table.
you still have a major problem.
Then look at the 4. What's the reason? Give me the answer now. Without the transgender
Same thing, breaking up the family.
Why? What's their purpose?
Because that's what's in. It's if you read Lenin, you read
No.
Marx.
I'm not talking about people that are dead. I'm
No,
talking
no,
about now.
that's what now they want to do the same thing. No.
No. Why?
Because they want they want rule, they want power, they
And
want
how are they
complete
gonna get it?
power.
How are they going to get
You
it from
have to
children-
destroy.
from taking
You
away
have
parents?
listen. I don't want to get into this.
children?
But listen to me. You got to read. You got to read. Go back and read Lenin.
No,
read
I'm
Karl-
not reading dead
no, Okay,
people.
but
I'm
no,
reading
it's not.
today.
No, dead
New
people. No, I will
stuff.
tell you what. If
New
you
stuff.
new stuff is old stuff.
No, it's not.
You're okay.
It's not as
okay.
cut and dry as that, Mike. It's not.
All right. Well, let me tell you something. When you got the boot on your neck, I'm telling you right now. That's why you're.
That's just a phrase.
You're-
unless there's a continuity to it.
The continuity is they're taking the
This is nuts. This doesn't make makes no sense. Give me a reason why parents cannot have control over a kid.
Because that's how you destroy the society. Don't you understand, Jeremy?
Why do they want to?
Because they want to. Because once they get rid of the family and society, they could take over. That's the
take over how and why and to what
take
end?
all your rights away from you, and then you are so just like in China, you have no freedom of speech, no freedom of religion, no freedom from fear. All the guns are gone. And they give you stuff.
It's just
this is what
insane.
Hitler. This
It's
is what
insane.
Hitler. You have to destroy the family. You talk about this. Now, why they're doing it? It's power. What does anybody do? Why they want power? Why did Stalin try to run the world? Why does Mao Zedong? It's power. And also they feel that they have the answer. They're going to run the world. You say it's the past. Nazi Germany. If you don't follow that and learn from that, you will repeat it again.
No, I understand that.
Genghis
Mike.
Khan.
I understand that part about
Right.
learning
But how
from
do you think?
history, or
Let me
you're
say,
doomed to
if you
repeat
want
it.
to take the world over, Jeremy, how would you do it?
But if you haven't listen,
Without-
here's
without
the thing.
firing a shot.
If you haven't learned from history now, if the powers that be have not learned,
They
from
learned.
history
They
now,
learned. They learned.
The buildings they walk around in are history,
Jeremy,
man.
Jeremy,
that's what it is.
Jeremy.
History is everywhere they're looking.
Okay, let me just make a point. You just answered your own question. The
What?
powers be have learned from the past, and they know
the negative aspect of the
they
past,
know
and that's
they're
where
going to
going.
follow Hitler's. They're going to follow Mao. Look at Lenin. I mean, you don't want to read Lenin, but I'm going to tell you right now, Lenin. We know what his what they did in Russia.
Give peace a chance.
No, what they did in Russia is you get the common folk, the rich peasants fight against the poor peasants. And then once it's chaos, you clean up. What do? You give our kids drugs. The younger, the better. You let them have sex. You let them have abortions. You let them go crazy. You take away all restraints. You take away the parents' rights to take care of their kids. And then who get rid of religion? You get rid of all of that. And who takes over? The government. And then they run the show. I understand where you're coming from, but anyway, let's. I agree. I know what you're saying, but it's more than just an agenda for sexual orientation. That's.
But that seems to be the one thing that they keep touting on. Definitely, like all this shit. Some of it can be flaked off. Okay, but so long as we get this whole transgenderism thing going.
When I talk to
and all
people,
of that,
when I talk to my friends who are like kind of on the left, there's three things that they're concerned about. Three things.
yeah. Oh, all right. Tell me
Three things.
Yeah.
Okay, and I hear it all the time. They call it reproductive rights. So they're all about abortion. They want abortion on demand.
And that's the other thing. Yeah,
That's a
the
big thing.
abortion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we talked about abortion. 15 weeks, it should be cut out. But after that, but my point is their agenda is this. And it's abortion, right? It's climate change. Okay. And that's a big thing. Climate change. And they want their friggin' drugs, pot.
The good thing about no, here's the
it's-
correlation. But here's the correlation. Hold on. Here's the correlation between abortion and transgenderism. Okay, transgenderism. These people aren't going to be having babies or abortions. None of them.
Well, it'll be, yeah, I
So
understand.
let's push that. Let's push that agenda. We'll have more children growing up not wanting abortions, not wanting to add to a population where we've just got too many.
All right, okay, listen, I want to move on, but let me just make one more point about, you talk about the past, because that's a bad thing when you don't say you don't want a history. There's a couple,
No.
okay.
You mistook me on that. I don't want to hear about 100%. Like that's the gold standard. It's not the gold standard anymore.
That was but here's the thing though. That was the seeds. That's the thought. Now listen, you go back and look at George Orwell, who wrote very eloquent dissertations with regard to how the world was going to end, how the Western Judeo-Jewish Catholic Christian model of the West would deteriorate, okay, and gets destroyed. He believed you would have, the 1984 where the government came in forcefully,
and they tried that.
Okay, but there's
They
another
had a Department of Truth set up and everything.
But there's another individual who is his contemporary, and you know what? I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
It's all right, man.
And he said that the way it's going to be is not. It's going to happen the same. It's going to happen, but they're going to give you everything. They're going to give you all the drugs you want. They're going to let you go wild in the streets. You don't have any bail. There's no consequences. Yeah. And what happens is the society.
You're right,
I don't want to say it's Chomsky. I can't think of who it is. Norm Chomsky, maybe. I don't know. It's not. I apologize for not having that. I don't think we were going to go down this road. But my point is that the same thing that happened with the Roman Empire. You know what? You know how they disintegrated from within. Yeah. The corruption, the loss of morality. They had, boys, sex with boys, girls. Everything went, and then you lost it. Anyway, I want you to go. So let's just go a few things here. I want to show you now. I have a whole bunch of articles here. So I'm driving down to my office in Bayville, and here's a sign that I think is really interesting. This is on a billboard, and for people who are watching here, it's a young girl. I guess she's Hispanic, maybe, I don't know, and it says, "Pregnant and struggling with addiction, ? Find treatment now."
She might be Indian.
I don't know what she is, but she's pregnant. So the thing is, pregnant and struggling with addiction. So it's called New Jersey Reach. So it's a governmental, program.
Yeah.
And what will they offer her? I don't know. Maybe, maybe an abortion, maybe drug addiction. This is where we are right now, and it's sad. I mean, think about 20 years ago to see a billboard like this. And this is in Bayville, New Jersey, and this is what we're dealing with in this country. I just saw an article where they were looking at having a vaccine for fentanyl. So you'd get a vaccine shot, and then, if you get fentanyl, you won't have as much trouble. Let's get rid of this for a minute, okay? Go back to you. I'm going to pull up another one. So what do you you just sit there and you look at stuff like this, Jeremy. And you're like, you can't even make this stuff up. And it has nothing to do with her nationality, whatever. She's a young girl. We're not even. I mean, the thing is, we're morally falling apart in this country. Now, this is a great article here. I want to show you this other card. These are just examples of what we're talking about.
Want to pop over?
Hang on a second. No, not yet. So I wanted to find the one. Jeremy, you could talk about what you were talking about is what the motives are.
I 100% agree with what you were saying about living. You got to learn from history and all that. And the thing is that guys like you and me, we've learned from history. We already know that stuff. We already know what our rights and wrongs are. It's the people in government who read the same books that you do, but still do what they're doing now. That are the people that need to learn from history, but they're not learning from it. So what do you do then? When you've read all your Lenin books and you've read all your Orwell books, and you still want to be evil, and you still want to do the things that were written down in these books as being wrong,
right?
Then what do you do to those people that are in charge that have no history, but they're going through it anyway? Right
now, I want to on our theme here. So New Jersey is bad enough, but you know what's even worse than New Jersey? What state is worse than New Jersey?
New York?
No.
Chicago?
No. I'm talking about liberal with kids.
Oh.
California.
Oh, well, California. Yeah.
California. Now,
well,
so now this is an article, okay? So this is by Michael Brown, October 1st, 2021. And the caption here, for people who don't see it, says, children in California can now make life-altering decisions without parents' knowledge. Okay?
Right.
So this was in the Religion Unplugged. So I'm looking here, and so this is on, there are two controversial bills Newsom signed last week. We'll focus here on AB 1184. Right. AB 1184, okay?
Yeah.
So here's, as reported by California Family Council. So this is October, a year ago, okay? The bill prohibits insurance companies from revealing to the policy holder the sensitive services of anyone on their policy, including minor children, even though the policy owner is financially responsible for the service. These sensitive services include abortions, sexual assault treatment, drug abuse, mental health, cross-sex hormones, puberty blockers, sex change operations. In California, minors can consent to all of these sensitive treatments except for sex change surgeries after the age of 12 under certain conditions, and consent to abortions at any age. Jeremy, let me just get you off the floor. Are you...
It's like,
Jeremy, just okay, Jeremy. Well, just calm down. Just hang in there. I know. I know.
At what point do we say, all right, it's all screwed? There's nothing we can do.
All right,
because otherwise
we're getting close to that.
We're just sitting here pontificating.
And Newsom's going to run for president of the United States. Newsom is going to run for president of the United States. Listen, not only can your 13-year-old child make radical, life-altering decisions, such as having an abortion, without your knowledge or consent, that would be enough. But your child can also use your family insurance policy to pay for the abortion. And when your insurance statement comes, there will be no explanation of services.
What?
In fact, your insurance provider will be prohibited from disclosing to you and your own child has done blah, 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 blah,
so
blah,
this
blah,
is your
blah.
insurance policy, okay? And you don't have the right to know when it's being used?
But Newsom will tell you democracy is at risk if you vote for whoever.
Oh.
Democracy is at risk. You know, this guy, Mark Elias, he was saying...
Something, folks, they're laughing at you.
Okay.
They're all just laughing at you.
Go get me out of here. Okay, yeah. I got a couple more for you. You love that one, huh?
No, they're having a freaking laugh, though, aren't they?
Well, you asked me what their motives are. I'm telling you right now, we're going towards communism. It's straight. I mean, I have no illusions of what they're trying to do here, none whatsoever. Now, I'm going to give you this here. This is back to New Jersey now. I don't know what year. So go to my thing. So this is transgender student guidance for school districts, and I know you get hung up on a transgender, but this is just taking parents' rights away. And I just want to go here, and I just want to read it here. I'm sorry I didn't have this keyed up a little bit, but it basically you could go on to New Jersey Department of Children and Family. And what they're saying basically here that the school, okay, do not have to talk to the parents when it comes to the children if they have an issue with transsexual issues, okay, and this is crazy. So here it is. So it says school personnel may not disclose information that may reveal a student's transgender status. I'm just trying to find where it says with the parents. But you don't have to, they do not have to inform the parents. And again, this is crazy, crazy stuff. If your child has a problem with their sexual orientation, right, the first thing should happen is not the state get called, the parents should get called. But I've heard people say, well, the parents are going to, if they're born-again Christian or they're, Jehovah's Witness, they're not going to let the kids have treatment. Well, then fight it in court then. Then you know what? Because the parents should be sovereign. Here we go again. They're losing, you talk about losing sovereignty. I like when, Madonna, who wrote the thing, Losing My Religion?
R.E.M.
Yeah. Well, we're losing our sovereignty.
Yeah.
We're losing it. left and right.
Oh,
And you know what? And
Mike,
sovereignty
Mike,
is
losing
your,
means we're still losing it. It's lost.
right. And when you talk about
That's it.
democracy,
Past tense.
these people who use that word democracy, you should be saying we're losing our we're losing our liberty. Because in the 14th Amendment, life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. Remember, liberty. Now here, so you could, and again here, it's talking about alcohol abuse, confidentially of certain provided exceptions, alcohol, drug information, and the parents don't have to know. All right, get me out of this. I just want people to know that they could go to and look at this transgender student guidance for school districts. This is NJLAD, New Jersey State. This is NJSA 10-5-12-11F, and you could read that all you want, and basically, they don't have to tell you diddly squat. And I understand part of where they're coming from, why they're doing that, but I think it's very, very, very dangerous.
It's pretty shady too. I mean, let's not mince words.
Let's
shady as
well,
all get
I got to
out.
calm you down. Now, here's another one. Here is a great one here. Now, don't put it on yet. Hang on a second. Let me just. So here is March 28th. Oh, you could put me up here. So this is the Washington Free Beacon. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the article here. Without notifying parents, New Jersey middle school forces students to learn about transgender hormone therapy. Now, I'm just telling you, this was by Patrick Hoff, Hauf, March 28th, 2022. Okay, it's coming up on less than a year. As part of a social studies class in New Jersey public school, middle school, forced students to watch a video about transgender men hormone treatment, all without notifying parents. My point about this article here is that there's people who are well-intentioned, but the parents have to be involved in this, Jeremy. Okay? This is what's happening here. And again, you go back, here's the thing. New Jersey is set to enact updated health standards in September, pushed by Democratic Governor Phil Murphy that teach second graders about genitalia, reproduction, and gender expression. Fifth graders will be required to define masturbation and differentiate between sexual orientation and gender identity. The eighth graders will have to be defined, blah, 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 blah. Oh, define entity. This is eighth graders. So how old are you in the eighth grade, Jeremy? 14?
I'm terrible.
Okay, we'll have to define gender identity, gender expression, vaginal sex, oral sex, and anal sex. You know when I learned about anal sex? When I was probably, no shit, I was probably about 30 years old. I'm like, what? My point is, a lot of things here. We're stealing these kids' youth, but beyond the damage that this is causing, we are not having the parents involved, and we're taking the parents' sovereignty, their democracy, their liberty away from them. Yeah. Okay, because parents should have the right to decide these children's course of action. Why? Because according to Ben Carson, which I'm going to pull up in a minute, they're not competent. And here's the other thing. Remember all these, those things on TV, those shows where you go get rid of this. Where you go in there, Jeremy, and the guy's on the phone, and the movie, it's a 17-year-old girl, 16-year-old girl, and they go to the guy's house. He's waiting for what do they call that show?
Hunt a Predator.
Right. Well. Then, so that's
when you were reading all that, it was going through my head. Well, what about? See, I had this kid I went to a high school with. Right, he was the king of hearts.
Right.
At our high school, and he grew up to be a school teacher, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then he started diddling the 14-year-old girls. And,
right.
He's got two little girls of his own, a beautiful wife, and he's messing with them. So, obviously the guy goes to jail and stuff. So if we're reaching out to allow this stuff to be normal and that you can't really do anything about it if it happens, do all of these people in cases similar or likewise get released out of prison because of it?
Yeah.
And now we have more sex predators out on the streets because we've normalized having sex with minors?
Right. And let me go back to this. Go back to my iPad. I want to make a point here because this is, you talk about history. Now, here's an article, right? New Jersey law allows mental health care for teens without parental consent. This was February 25, 2016, quite a while ago. And, if you read the content here, this is Governor Chris Christie. And it makes sense from the standpoint, these kids, there's no parents or they're drifting and somebody's got to help them, okay? But what happens is this thing becomes a monster. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's in the beginning there was some great ideas. And okay, we're going to help these kids. But now it's taken off on a snowball effect. And we're taking all the rights, and we're like, they don't even. You had a school board up in Fairlawn where the lawyer said you don't have any rights. What we teach the kids, what we teach the kids is the state's right. Only right you have is to move your kid to another school. So that's how we've deteriorated. Get out of here, go. So I just want to show you this, and there's another thing here. These are things that I just pick off the internet. Now here's an interesting thing here, Jeremy. I want you to put this here because I think Ben Carson is one of the greatest. So this is an article in Newsmax. This was December of 2022. Okay. So when was that? That's today. I'm sorry.
There you go. In today's Newsmax.
I didn't realize that. I pulled this up. That was, So Ben Carson to Newsmax. Kids can't decide on gender care alone. So this is a guy here, former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development Ben Carson, speaking out on Newsmax against gender-affirming care for minors, said Sunday that people forget children are immature and can't make those kinds of decisions without parental guidance. That's the reason they have parents that help them until such time as they become an age of maturity. Okay, Carlson, who's a renowned neurosurgeon, they can't make those kinds of decisions. The human brain isn't finished developing until you're in your 20s. Further, he said that children are naturally curious, but that doesn't always mean they want to change genders. Now, I'm just throwing this out at you. But this is with everything. So that's so this is Ben Carson.
Here's an analogy for you, okay?
Yeah, get out of this one. I want to get one more. Yeah.
So mama birds wait until their chicks are developed enough to teach them how to fly, and then they push them out and they fly.
Right.
But what if there's a government governing birds, all right? And then we decide, well, we feel the right that everyone should have a right to fly at any age. So we're going to go into these nests and we're going to flick these little baby chicks with undeveloped wings off the branches. And unfortunately, yeah, we kill more than we see fly. But it's the rights that we're trying to, you know what I mean? It still sounds like effing madness, doesn't it?
I think what's happening here is a combination of this, Jeremy. Hold it with this. Just go back to me. I think it's a combination of this. I think it's a combination of several things. I think that number one, there's a lot of well-intentioned people out there who are in their world, their thing, and they have a certain thing that they want to fix, and they see it, and they see, okay, we're going to do this, and so there's a scenario where a well-intentioned law or thought or process has unintentional consequences. And I think then you have people who are on a bigger agenda, guys like Soros and everything, who want the communist model, the Chinese model, and they think it's a little bit better than what Stalin had, better than what Hitler had.
Have you heard what's going over in China right now?
I understand. Or they're rebelling. But my point is though, so that's that. So, but I still believe, you asked me why, it's a power grab, and you cannot let these children do what they want. Now let me go back to the videotape, as they say. Now this is legislation. I want to throw this out at you. This is another thing I want to make. So this is legislation, Assembly number 3373, State of New Jersey, 219th legislation, introduced February 25th, 2020. So look who sponsors this. This was Assemblyman, I can't even pronounce the name, R.A.J., last name is Mukherji. That's District 33, which is Hudson, which is heavy-duty city. And then Assembly Herb Conway Jr., Burlington, which is, South Jersey. So this synopsis permits minors 13 years of age and older to consent to behavioral health care service. That's vague. That opens up the door. But basically, you're going down the road of even lowering the age. And I mean 13. So now that's the new threshold. So they're banging at that. So this is what it says here. The consent to the provision of medical or surgical care or services or a forensic sexual assault examination by a hospital or public clinic, or consent to the performance of medical or surgical care or services or forensic sexual assault examination by a healthcare professional when executed by a minor who is believed that he or she may have sexually transmitted infection, who is at least 13 years of age, and his believes that he may be infected, blah, 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 blah. But again, I understand, it could have been the parent, whatever, but this is basically, in the case of a minor who appears to have been sexually assaulted, the minor's parents or guardians shall be notified immediately unless the treating healthcare provider believes that it is in the best interest of the parent not to be do so. Now, what do you mean a treating physician? And who's that? Is that the healthcare? My point is we're going down a very dangerous road. So here you have a doctor involved, and we know about experts, Watch the science. Read the, follow the science, right? And quote experts. My point is, I can't believe, and I might be wrong with this, but I think the vast majority of parents, are more caring and concerned about their children than doctor or a state. What if the doctor, I'm just throwing this out, is going to be the one who's going to profit from the treatment of that child? You can't even, you can't have drug reps go into a doctor's office and give them more than $14 for lunch, because the idea is that the doctor's going to, if you give them tickets to a baseball game, that they're going to give you
a payoff.
It's called sunshine, right?
Yeah.
But here, and these people are getting paid. I'm just saying is the parents are being taken out of the situation here, Jeremy.
What I was thinking about here is this isn't anything new.
And this is the law.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. This isn't
get me out of this. Get me out of this.
This isn't anything new. This is we were doing this stuff with arranged marriages when the kids were very young and stuff like that. Why did we stop doing that? Because we knew it was wrong. It was wrong. They're far too young. And we put things into the parents' hands. Now, all of a sudden, we're like, yeah, forget about all of that. Now they can sleep with anybody they want. We thought better of it over the last couple or several decades, And it's just...
all right, listen. I want to go. Let's go.
Sickening.
Let's
whole
go.
Thing is,
I got more for you. You got your barf pan.
Grand.
Okay,
yeah,
here. This is our great state. So here you go. Published December 2nd, yesterday, 2022. This is out of, let me see, this is Fox News. Ooh, the enemy, right? The enemy of the enemy.
I mean, this headline is
so,
effing mental.
Planned Parenthood director claims kids are sexual beings from birth while promoting useful porn literacy. But, okay, so this basically here... So this is okay. So the executive director. Hang on. Executive director.
Are they saying that kids should be in porn?
No. Listen. Let me read it out.
I'm not getting that.
No.
At all.
Well, let me read this. An executive director at the Planned Parenthood's sex education arm claimed that children are born sexual, while simultaneously advocating for comprehensive sex education from kindergarten through 12th grade and porn literacy for certain ages. In other words, they want you to learn about porn so you don't abuse it. Remember, just know, KNOW.
But that's now that I know.
Now
I think
listen.
It's even more
this
mental.
is New Jersey. Bill, Taverner, Tavernar, who has advocated for sexuality education in U.S. congressional briefings, is the executive director of Planned Parenthood Center for Sex Education located in New Jersey. The center provides training material nationally and hosts the largest conference for sex educators in New Jersey. Now, listen, what I'm just saying here is this, is we have different opinions, okay, Jeremy? And what I mean by that is that, when should a child learn about sex? When should they learn? How should they learn? But here's the deal. I go back to this. Who should make the decision when, how, and where? The parents. Not this guy, not the state of New Jersey, not the school board, not Mrs. Jones,
and I
not
know
Mr.
this
Smith,
is-
the biology teacher.
I know this is
Okay.
This is going to be. Go back to that picture. Go back to that picture. Of that guy. That guy looks like.
Don't say that.
I'm
Don't,
just
no,
saying.
No, be nice. Listen.
Hey, you know what?
No.
He's not exactly being
Don't.
nice to us. He's
No, no.
putting things
Listen.
into place or trying
No.
to that
Listen,
are
no, no.
really wrong.
Look,
man.
listen. You got to try to look at other person's.
Yeah, but why would somebody like that say, yeah, we should teach
Because-
kids about pornography.
No,
We should
no,
sit
no.
down, watch it with them.
Because
You know.
Jeremy, he feels that if you don't, it's going to be worse than if you do. It's like
So
giving. It's
okay
the argument
for me
about.
to sit
Listen.
down next to with my 10-year-old kid and watch a girl getting double teamed by two guys.
right, listen.
and that's fine.
Listen, it's the idea of, hey, listen, let's give them syringes. Let's teach them how to shoot up. I mean, it's it goes on and on and on. So I just wanted to throw this out. I knew this would get you upset. I knew this one. I saved
the.
the. I said.
Of course it will.
All right,
Jesus.
go back to you.
And that guy, everything I didn't see, folks. No, I'm not going to say anything.
Come on, go
everything
this
I
way.
didn't say, but you
No
guys
slander.
felt. That's what I meant.
Yeah, get rid of this. Get rid of this. Go to you. Go to you. I got one more.
Unfreaking believable. Yeah. He waits.
I knew I'd get you.
forever
I knew I'd get you.
just to set me off on this shit.
I knew I would. I
It's
knew.
so wrong. It's so wrong that it disgusts me that it's happening out there. And you want to talk about mental illness?
Jeremy, Jeremy.
That guy. I'm not saying anything wrong, but I think he should be checked. I think he should be talked to. Yeah. He certainly shouldn't have a driver's license.
All right. So let's go here. This is another one that's going to set you off. So I'm going to tie you when you listen. You know what they do in the plane where they duct tape you
Yeah.
to the seat. That's what I'm going to do next.
Wait, they do that on a plane?
Yeah, when you get all, remember all those guys that were all bent out of shape? They didn't want to wear a mask and everything. They airline stewardesses duct taped the guy to the seat. I'm gonna have to duct tape. Next show, you're gonna be duct taped.
Duct taped. Yeah. Okay.
All right, here you go. Pennsylvania Capital Star.
Oh, fuck.
Naming it. So here we are, November 30th, 2022. Okay, New Jersey Governor Phil's administration proposes abortion coverage mandate in some healthcare insurances. So abortion access for all. Okay, where's the baby's rights? But anyway, so New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance has proposed a new regulation that would require health insurance plans overseen by the state to cover abortions, according to the report the department sent to Phil Murphy. So basically, if you read it, it's just another thing. They want to encourage. To me, this is encouraging abortions more than anything else. Now, should it be covered? Listen, if you have an ectopic pregnancy, whatever, I think that, we talked about this on our show. We're not anti-abortion. We think it should be rare, not over 15 weeks. And I think if it's underage, the parents should be involved. The father should be involved. Maybe try to have persuade the individual from us. How about we have the insurance company? How about we do this? Let me ask you this, Jeremy. Instead of the insurance department, the banking and insurance department in New Jersey pay for abortions. Okay, how about if they do that, but how about they also pay for the care of that pregnant girl for the 9 months so she could have the baby, all right? How about that? And then how about all the medical care going forward until the baby's 2 years old, free?
Yeah.
How about that? I'd pay for that. How about that? How about we talk, in other words, see what I'm talking about? There's, when you look at the other side of things, Jeremy, and you sit there and you go, oh, okay. Everything is one pushing. Where's the baby's rights? When, we showed a fetus at 15 weeks, it looks like it's a little baby. Where is the parents, where is the father's rights, the child's rights? Maybe, just maybe, people out there, you're wrong about these things, And again, I understand the first trimester. We all talked about that. We're cool with an abortion in the first trimester. We don't want to end abortion. It's a necessary evil, unfortunately. But my point is that here's another thing, and this is our, Murphy, a Democrat, signed legislation in January empowering the Department of Bank Insurance to set up regulations mandating abortion coverage. But here it says, but only if the study by the department found it necessary. Well, I guarantee they're going to find it necessary.
Yeah, they toss that in at the end. Yeah, only if they think it's necessary, but they will.
So here it says, Senate Teresa blah, 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 said the mandate, this is one of the councilwomen, would help to reduce the financial barriers to accessing reproductive care Why do they call it reproductive care? It's abortion. It's ending the reproductive cycle.
It's deep.
It's
Deproductive care.
It's deproductive. You're not. I mean, around the state. So, in the meantime, I just want to throw out in New Jersey, there is no waiting period. You could abort a baby all the way until the end. There's no time frame. None. I can't believe that in this state. At least in New York, it's 24 weeks, which is 6 months, which even that's a stretch. In this state, we don't even have that. So they're all bent out of shape. So, and this has been the whole thing about, so your premiums, well, they said the premiums won't go up. But this is interesting. You know what's interesting about this? Listen to this. This is what I wanted to talk about, abortion, where it really gets crazy. So you do an abortion with the pill, and the baby breaks up and it gets thrown out. But a lot of times that doesn't work, right? So then you got to go to an abortion anyway. And so it's interesting in some of these states where the time frame. So there's a lot of stuff going on here because people don't understand. A lot of your abortions now are medication induced, and that's a rough way to go, man. Yeah. Because the parts all come out. You have blood clots and everything. Anyway, go ahead, hit me up here. Yeah. I want to get one more. Let me get one more. What time are we at? Oh yeah, we should be ending it soon. Let me just give you one. Let me see if I had hit all my things. So Planned Parenthood claims. All right. One thing I want to just make one thing. We're just gonna change here. This one here is The Guardian, and this is a great article here. I wanted to throw it out for people because we're gonna start talking about this too, about pot and smoking. This is a great article. I lost my children to vaping. The tragic story behind the soaring rates of youth addiction. It's in Australia. Anyway, you could shut me down. Just put this. Go back to me, Jeremy. So let's recap, Jeremy. I know you got all upset and everything.
Yeah,
that was a rough one. That was a rough
this
one.
Was a rough one.
But you know what?
So people have to talk about it. I understand that, but I still feel
you want to be the ostrich.
I still feel like if there was history to learn from, I've learned from it. So have you.
Right.
But when you say, "Oh, you got to read Lenin, you got to read this," it's not us that have to read them. It's the powers that be, and they're not.
Well, I'm trying to tell you.
Learning from
but
anything.
If you want to try to make change, you got to understand what they're doing.
But
you
if
can't
you're a bad apple, you're pretty much going to stay one,
Jeremy,
aren't you?
I just want to let the audience know while we were showing this, Jeremy went off his seat and put his head in the hole like an ostrich.
I have one right down here.
And he just sticks his head in the hole,
down there.
and he feels a lot safer. Although his ass is sticking up in the air.
I do. Yeah, I wanted to get like some sort of like feather massaging machine for my ass while I'm in the hole. But Mike has to draw his limit somewhere.
Listen, it's a tough thing. And in New Jersey, human beings, and and especially in this country, we seem to go from one extreme to the next. We go from where you couldn't be on the beach with any of your body exposed. Back in the 20s in Atlantic City, the girls had to have dresses on, the guys had to have shirts.
Look at her showing her
you couldn't do breastfeeding on a boardwalk. Right. But now we're going all the way crazy, and I think that I'm just trying to tell people, the governor of the state and all these people, listen, slow down a little bit. You went, I think, too far, and what I mean by that is you're taking
off more than you can
you're
chew.
You're trashing on parents' rights, liberties. You're also
the right way to say that was they're biting off more than we can chew.
Right. You're also maybe causing more harm to these children
and families
than you are helping them. Good example is with all this stuff with the lockdowns and everything.
Didn't
sometimes
presidents used to run on the importance of family, and the family unit.
Yes.
So now what? The future presidents are going to be like, F the families. All right, kids. You don't really have any kind of responsibility after you birthed them. Right. So just toss them out.
Right. You got people in California living in the streets. I mean, California is
pay me to go to California.
Right. Let's recap. I just want everybody to understand. Stay in New Jersey to reinforce everything. Just the topics here, just so everybody understands. You could have, if you're 16 years old and above, you could have sex with any predator, anybody, doesn't matter. There's no age restriction. The guy could be, or the girl could be 50 years old. There's certain, you can't be your teacher or your a family member, okay? Number one. Number two is abortion on demand. 18 and under, you can consent yourself. You don't, so basically, anybody could have an abortion and consent. And if you're under 18, it doesn't matter. You could still, and it's on demand, no waiting period. You could be 7 months, 8 months pregnant. Number three, you could smoke marijuana, drink alcohol. If you're between 21 and 16, go look at the statute. It is not criminal and it's not delinquent. You could get a warning that the cops are not allowed to tell the parents. They're not allowed to tell you about an abortion if you don't want it. They're not allowed, you can't, you don't have to tell anybody if you're having sex with a 50-year-old, pervert named, what is his name? Beaver, whatever, like with alias. The other thing is you could, in the schools, the kids now could have, medical surgical treatment, whatever that is. And that could be, I'm not saying it is transgender sex change yet, but it could be. And it's 16 and they want it, it's 13. Yeah. So now, and then when is it going to be where?
We pulled our son out of the Catholic Church because they wanted to give him special studying about how to accept preachers that touch kids. That's
really?
Seriously.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
And in the one just not too far from here, they during the mass at a point they pray for these preachers.
Jeremy, what if they say, okay, 13-year-olds and above could have sex with anybody? There's no limit.
So it's okay then.
So basically, listen. What about Epstein? What were the girls at that island where allegedly all of these famous people went? 14 years old, right?
Yeah.
They were 14.
Yeah.
Okay. 15 years old.
I was watching a clip from the Oscars, and Ricky Gervais brought up Harvey Weinstein.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And he said to all the celebrities that were in shock that he brought it up. He's like, "What are you talking about? You're the ones that did it, not me."
Yeah. Well, so are we going down the road here of remember we talked about the left and about transgender and everything else, and now are we going to outlaw or not outlaw but legalize pedophilia?
Yeah, it seems like that.
We're going towards that road. I don't know. So my point is, and let's leave with this: the parents are losing their sovereignty, they're losing their liberty.
Lost.
With law. Well, with regard, listen. It's not.
Once you start taking your freedoms away, they're gone.
Right. Listen, I know in schools they give the parents the right to opt out of certain things, and it's not just it's not every school, but we're going in this. There's a mass effect. There's a push going towards this thing.
If it happens once, if you get one freedom taken away from you, that's the first domino to drop.
Right.
You've now lost your freedoms. You're well in your way of losing them all.
Well, if you get kids and you talk about brainwashing, we used to call it. That's what you got.
Happening now.
Look at Hitler. If you go back and look at Nazi Germany is a great example, but also Stalin and Mao. They indoctrinate the children. You got
that whole word I brought up earlier. Normalizing things, that's brainwashing.
Mao Zedong, the kids had to read, pictures of Mao Zedong. He's the greatest thing. Hitler, they had the Hitler Youth. They went after the Hitler Youth would tell, they would say, if you parents are talking, bad about Adolf Hitler, turn them in. Mao Zedong would, have people watching you. So my point is that, these kids today it's a train wreck. Anyway, listen, I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar. Let's go to our thing here. We want to say goodbye. It's been, I know it's a tough one, but you know what? Sometimes we have to, Jeremy, talk about some tough stuff.
Yeah, we do. And
I know it upsets you greatly because you're such a good person. But you know what? I've been thinking about this. Lecture for a while.
Yeah.
And let me put in here my music here. I'm trying to get my music here, and I know that it upsets you, and I can't help that. Yeah. I got to find my music. Everybody's screwed around. I don't know where it's at here. Hang on. I don't know. Somebody played around with my stuff here. So what, Jeremy? What else can you say about
our rights? You know, all these rights that we have are going to be disappearing more and more. They're not in the process of disappearing. They're already on the process of being gone. And unless we take the advantages we get and vote out these people, and this isn't something you just, other people would do it for me. No, we all have to. If we don't all stay together, this madness continues and it destroys the America we all love.
Right. And on that note, I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar, board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar. You want to get a hold of us, it's drkachmar at icloud.com. If you listen to this and you have some arguments with me, or you disagree, or you think you weren't happy, how about giving us a call? Who gave us a shout up there? James, are you so right? Oh, okay.
Oh,
Listen.
you were so right, Mike.
Oh, we didn't see that. Sorry.
Yeah,
Who's that? James.
This position is starting to blanket my body and soul. Soon I will suffocate our whole society as it was once known.
Oh, well, thank you, James. We didn't see your comment there.
Thanks,
Sorry about
James.
that. Listen, James, we'll have you call in one day, but keep on, giving comments.
Shine on, man.
Jeremy wasn't watching the comment section.
No, it's
Jeremy
moved
was
over
on.
there.
Jeremy was on the floor, all upset.
My jaw was dropped. and
So
lifted
Jersey
it up.
Shore Foot and Leg Center.com. Give us an email. Let us know what's going on. James, thank you. We have comments. People want to comment, and we'll try to get back to you. Anyway, Jeremy, let's say goodbye to everyone.
Bye, everybody.
All
You
right.
stay kind to each other.
Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
This has been Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachman.